Hello. And today on the Recipients podcast series, looking at recipients of the National Awards for Disability Leadership 2024, I am speaking to the fabulous Demon Derriere, who has taken out the Arts Award. Let me tell you a little bit about Demon. Demon Derriere is a formidable activist and powerhouse on a mission to redefine societal norms on ableism, dismantle fat phobia, and liberate all bodies from oppressive stereotypes through cabaret, burlesque, and the award-winning show and festival Big Thick Energy. The Arts Award is for advancing the status of disabled people through artistic expression. I reckon that's exactly what we've been seeing here. Exciting times. Welcome, Demon, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I'm really looking forward to having a chat with you.
Absolutely. I love doing this stuff. How do I get to do this stuff? So exciting. So exciting. So how did you get into this sort of stuff? Why burlesque? Why this? Um, the whole persona thing? Yeah. How'd you get into this? What drove you to that
Well,
stage?
creatively, like I've just always been a creative person, really, and I think it's really natural for artists to create work based on trauma and fear and discrimination and isolation. It's a way to kind of reconnect with people. So yeah, I would say because of trauma and discrimination, I've gone, okay, I need an outlet to heal myself, also to discover myself, reclaim myself. Um, and I was always into performing live, and I was doing a lot of theater making and acting, and then found burlesque to in a way to love my body more and accept my body rather than change myself on the outside anyway. So that's how that came about.
Fantastic. And I mean, the Arts Award is for about, actually changing the status of disabled people. You know, the awards are for actually achieving outcomes. They're not for trying, but for actually achieving outcomes. So, you've been out there really, as the bio said, talking about ableism and fat phobia and some of those things that are really, classic stereotypical spaces in the body space,
Yeah.
the
I'm
what the
trying to
perfect
break
body
those
should be.
stereotypes. Yeah, break them. And people's definition of what a dancer should look like and act like. People would see me from the outside and go, "You're not a dancer, you're not a performer, you don't belong." So it's about us as the community, myself as an artist, but us as a creative community going, well, actually, we have a place here.
You take your the disability into the front of the space, or you just let it participate in the space?
Yeah. Well, as a hard of hearing person, I quite often incorporate Auslan within my performances. And that is not only liberating for myself, but for the deaf and hard of hearing community as well, to feel that kind of representation, to see our native language up there on the stage for everyone to see. Especially during COVID, we saw a lot of interpreters. And so Auslan and sign language became more visible to everyone, but we were only seeing Auslan through interpreters. So we were seeing Auslan through hearing people. So I think it's important for deaf and hard of hearing folk to show their native language from them to them and to mainstream or to the society and everyone else.
Oh wow, yeah. What are you currently doing with this? Is Big Thick Energy the current show, or have you progressed? What's the work right now?
I do a lot of stuff on my own, like performing as a solo artist for other productions, but Big Thick Energy is something that originally I arranged to have like an annual event, but sometimes it's happened 5 times within the year, which has been fun. And it's just a fun way to like educate people and to raise awareness. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a mix.
Sort of people come along? I mean, who comes to the shows? Who checks it out?
For Big Thick Energy, it is mainly the fat community and the disabled queer community that also come through. Also, as a mixed race babe myself, I really try to highlight um BIPOC, POC, queer disabled folks. Intersectionality is the key word here. Because quite often with events, we will see one disabled person or one fat person or one queer person. And it's about getting rid of tokenism and making us the majority. But I always, again, focusing on that intersectionality. Because you can be queer, but not experience racial discrimination. So, yeah.
Oh, totally. I can spend 5 days talking intersectionality. So watch out, everyone. We'll hold ourselves down. Oh, it's an interesting space when we start to talk about intersectional aspects of disability, but that takes us into all those other spaces as well, of course. What are some of the barriers or roadblocks that you've encountered with your work and with even becoming a burlesque artist? And is it different from different parts of the different communities that you're part of?
I've definitely been faced with a lot of barriers. A lot around access, not just as a hard of hearing person, but as a person, a fat person, and what it's like to live in a larger body. And sometimes it means the venue is not accessible or the equipment in the venue is not accessible, but also sometimes it's the organization itself that's not accessible. And so I find that quite often I have had to consult these organizations and do an impromptu access and inclusion training to then educate them so I'm in a safer space, as well as the people that I'm surrounded by, like the other artists and crew, are in a safer space to then work and not feel like they're about to be left out or not catered to.
About the cultural community interface or the queer community interface, how have you found, operating across all of those zones? Has there been
I
any,
think
how has that worked? Yeah.
I think within every community there is still room for improvement. As a queer person in queer communities, access, like as in accessible venues, is an afterthought, if even a thought. Fat bodies are often discriminated against within queer communities. In cultural communities, queer bodies are discriminated against. So it's really difficult to see a kind of harmony within all of these communities. So, like I said, definitely room for improvement everywhere, but it's about finding the right way to call them in and to educate rather than to call out. Cancel culture is huge, but it doesn't work. I've dabbled in cancel culture myself, thinking that if I speak up, I will see a change. There isn't a change when there's large egos involved. If you're going to cancel someone or call someone out, if they've got a big ego, they're going to struggle to take on new information and to learn and to improve a space because their pride is hurt. So I think there's a way to approach this in order to see change. And I think that's through care, collective care.
Mm. I'm really interested that, some of the artists I've spoken to, the creatives over the years, their art is their politics is about change making. But from what you're just saying, as well, there's also that element of which we find so much with disability leadership of being the first one or the only one or one of very few in the spaces that we're in. And somehow we can't just get on with our work, but we also have to spend a big part of our time kind of advocating for or being activists in fixing the thing immediately in front of us. And as you're saying, doing awareness around this, that, and the other, and generally moving that. Does that seem like an ever-present space for you? Is it something that just turns up occasionally? Does it annoy you, or is it just sort of a fact of life? How have you observed that particular aspect of things?
To be honest, I think it's constant. Um, I think the talk around access and inclusion is still quite new, especially when we're coming from an intersectional lens. And so not everyone is caught up on the information. They're not aware. So I do feel like it's constant. Sometimes I get extremely frustrated. I think as time goes on, I've learned to regulate myself more and go, okay, well, in this instance, I actually know how I can care for myself, and what a privilege to be able to have that as an option to go, I can actually look after myself in this moment. Here is how I'm gonna deal with it. Um, but I do find a lot of times when I am confronted with those really uncomfortable situations, I try to deal with it as best as I can in the moment, and then regroup with either the organization or the venue or the producer or things like that to say, okay, I was able to handle this, but not everyone will be able to do so. So let's talk about how we can improve this. And again, this is where like my consultancy work comes into play.
Are people receptive to that stuff?
Not always, like I mentioned before, ego, people that their pride and ego get in the way. Um, there are others that are extremely apologetic, and maybe even some guilt comes through, and so they're willing to hear and listen. I think applying the new information seems to be the biggest challenge, or it seems to be like where it ends. We can have a conversation, maybe create a plan, but then applying those procedures seem to be the difficult tasks for most organizations that I've dealt with.
Um, people are excited about the idea. Everyone's inclusive until they have to actually do something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that one. Oh, how do you think receiving this award might change your work? What difference will it make?
Well, um, it's very recent that I've gotten this award, which is exciting. So far, there's been no difference. I think also with awards, there's normally like money, resources, funding, gifts, and this doesn't have that.
But
But some people are hung up with titles. So maybe this title means that people will take me more seriously, or will it just intimidate people? I don't know. We will see. For me itself, it feels like recognition, and it feels like the work that I've done and the advocacy that I've done so far has been recognized, seen, acknowledged, and that is rewarding within itself. Because sometimes I go, is everything I'm saying and doing falling upon deaf ears? Uh, so yeah, that's that.
some of them might have been deaf ears, but they were our
100%.
community, so that's okay.
Hello, deaf.
And it's yeah, so alas, disability community, we don't necessarily often have money or other resources, but we I think one of the things I really observe and value most about these particular awards, the national awards for disability leadership, is that it's like our community acknowledging who we see as leaders and who is changing the dial, who's making a difference, and as you say, that recognition, that sense of being connected to community, and the the importance of that. This is what's important to disabled people. That kind of statement that so often seems to get lost in the wash. We don't put a lot of effort. In fact, the bigger sort of mainstream world, if you want to call it that, often seems to miss our voices or doesn't quite notice what we consider to be important or the big thing, or how we value change and what change looks like. I haven't waxed lyrical about the awards in that context before, so hello, welcome to Christina waxing lyrical. But that space, it means a lot to me, and while we haven't got a lot to offer in the way of award recipients, apart from you get a nice certificate and you're a guest on the podcast, but that sense that your community has actually recognised your work and considers it valuable, what does that mean to you?
It means that I'm doing something right, right?
I would have thought you're doing something right anyway. Yes, yeah. But yeah.
I'm not sure how to further answer that question. Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool, isn't it? It
But I
really
do
is.
agree with what you said in the sense of that um mainstream society have just not heard us. And it's like, are we not being loud enough? I don't think that is the case. I think we're just being ignored. And that's something that I'd love to see moving forward, or who I'd love to connect with moving forward is mainstream society, mainstream communities, mainstream media. I'm acknowledged by the disabled community, fab. I'm acknowledged by the fat community, the queer community, great. It's like, how do I get acknowledged by the mainstream folks? And I think for them, it's about being, again, like I mentioned, that collective care. So coming in a very caring, almost maternal, very polite way. Maybe that's how we can then connect with them and then potentially feel a bit more heard. But we have to come in with a very pretty, polished appearance in order for them to listen, I think.
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, I often used to think it was about, being the nice girl to get into the room and then actually telling them what you really think.
Yeah, yeah.
That one. Mm, excellent lobbying trick. Until they'd seen it too many times, of course.
And they're like, we know how you work.
Yeah. And then they just get tired of it. Uh, what's next? What's coming up for Demon Derriere in
Um,
2025?
lots of, I guess, lots of fun things, working a lot more with Mardi Gras, which is great.
Oh,
A lot
fantastic.
more hosting and presenting, which is a lot of fun for me. Um, because it's again another way that I can interact with audiences and it's a more upbeat way that I can show my advocacy, which is really fun for me. I continue to create more solo developments. So again, like everyone's saying, is your work political? Yeah, it's political, but my body in a space is political enough. So it's delving deeper into that in a more, I guess, I want to hit like the dramaturgy land, the theater land. But bring my advocacy work in that because I think at the moment, there's neo burlesque and a bit of drag and a bit of comedy, and it's like, how can I bring in other art forms to articulate what it is that I'm trying to say or, create that further change within the world.
Fantastic. Oh, looking forward to seeing one of these shows. Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Um, oh, should I look out for you during the parade?
You will definitely see me during the parade. Uh, I don't think I'm allowed to say just yet. And I don't know when this is gonna be like
This
uploaded.
will
Um,
actually be happening after the parade, so go for it.
oh, great. Well,
Yeah.
people will have seen me. People will see me. You won't miss me. That's all I need to say.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Always the exciting thing to spend half the parade going, no, that person,
So
met that
fun.
person. Oh,
There's
it's
so
so
many
good.
recognizable faces. It's so great.
It's so exciting. And half the membership of the Disability Leadership Institute goes by, which is terrific. So good. So good. Something that I like to ask everybody, Felicity, is who is a leader that you admire and why?
Rihanna. Rihanna is a beautiful, she also goes by DJ Aquenta. She's a gorgeous DJ, art curator. She's the producer of Crip Rave Theory, which is a killer event, a great program for disabled folks to dance, celebrate, connect with community. She educates folks in a really exciting and kind of sexy way with the spaces that she creates. And she recently just won, was it the National Disability Award through, was it Create New South Wales, possibly? So she's killing it. So it's so great to see someone who I admire and a leader be recognized also by the community. I think she's working really hard and I'm like really proud of her.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, there's so much out there, so many people doing such wonderful things. Oh,
Hmm,
so good. So good.
absolutely.
we're out of time today. It's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. The
Likewise.
wonderful Demon Derriere. Congratulations once again on being the recipient of the Arts Award in the National Awards for Disability Leadership 2024.
Thank you.